The role of the Antichrist in end-time prophecy. Part 1. The Overture. Sowing the seeds of mystery. Under the flickering embrace of candlelight, ancient scrolls whisper tales of an age yet to come, of trials and tribulations that will test the very fabric of faith. We are drawn to prophecies veiled in enigma, to figures shrouded in both dread and divine purpose. Among these, none casts a longer, more chilling shadow than the Antichrist. Is this a singular, malevolent entity, a harbinger of ultimate darkness, or something more nuanced, a reflection of humanity's deepest fears and failings? Tonight, we embark on a contemplative journey, peeling back the layers of scripture and tradition to understand the profound and often unsettling role of this enigmatic figure in the unfolding drama of the end times. What truths lie hidden within these ancient warnings, and how do they illuminate our understanding of the ultimate spiritual conflict? Part 2. The Expedition, a deep dive into Revelation. A. The historical and cultural context. Seeds of rebellion. The concept of an Antichrist did not emerge in a vacuum. Its roots can be traced back to the tumultuous periods in which these prophetic texts were penned, times of intense persecution and political upheaval for early believers. The Roman Empire, with its imperial cult demanding worship of the emperor, presented a clear and present Antichrist spirit to those who pledged allegiance solely to Christ. The Jewish apocalyptic tradition, too, spoke of a man of lawlessness or a wicked ruler who would arise in the last days to oppose God's people. This fertile ground of expectation of a coming Messiah, and by extension, a formidable adversary, shaped the early Christian understanding. The writers of the New Testament were not merely predicting a distant future. They were also addressing the very real spiritual and political challenges of their own day, providing hope and warning to communities under duress. B. Decoding the Scripture, unmasking the adversary. The term Antichrist appears explicitly only in the epistles of John, yet the concept permeates much of apocalyptic literature, particularly the books of Daniel and Revelation. John speaks of many antichrists, 1 John 2:18, indicating a spirit of opposition to Christ that was already at work, a spirit that denies the Father and the Son, 1 John 2:22. He describes this spirit as one that rejects the incarnation, denying that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh, 1 John 4:3, 2 John 1:7. This suggests that the Antichrist is not solely a future figure, but also an ongoing spiritual force that seeks to undermine the truth of Christ. However, other New Testament texts point to a singular, ultimate adversary. Paul, in 2 Thessalonians 2, introduces the man of lawlessness, the son of destruction, who will oppose and exalt himself above every so-called God or object of worship, so that he takes his seat in the temple of God, displaying himself as being God. This figure will perform power, signs, and false wonders, 2 Thessalonians 2-9, to deceive those who are perishing. Daniel speaks of a little horn, Daniel 7-8, and a king who shall do according to his will, Daniel 11:36, a figure of immense power and blasphemous pride who seeks to change times and law and persecute the saints. Revelation paints the most vivid, albeit symbolic, portrait. It describes two beasts, one rising from the sea, Revelation 13:1-10, with 10 horns and 7 heads, empowered by the dragon, Satan, speaking blasphemies and waging war against the saints. This beast represents the political and military power through which the Antichrist will operate. The second beast, rising from the earth, Revelation 13:11, 1:8, performs great signs and wonders, even causing fire to come down from heaven, deceiving humanity into worshiping the first beast and receiving its mark. This second beast is often identified as the false prophet, working in tandem with the Antichrist to establish a global system of control and worship. The infamous number of his name, 666, becomes a chilling identifier of this ultimate human rebellion against God. C. The hidden theological meaning, the apex of human rebellion. Beyond the dramatic imagery, the Antichrist serves profound theological purposes in end-time prophecy. This figure represents the ultimate culmination of human pride, rebellion, and rejection of divine authority. The Antichrist is not merely an evil dictator. He is a spiritual counterfeit, mimicking Christ's authority, demanding worship, and offering a false salvation based on human power and worldly promises. His rise highlights the depth of human depravity when severed from God, a descent into idolatry and self-exaltation. The existence of the Antichrist also underscores the unwavering truth of God's sovereign plan. Despite the chaos and deception he unleashes, his reign is ultimately limited in time and scope, serving a larger divine purpose. His appearance is a signpost, a clear indication of the impending return of Christ, who will ultimately defeat him with the breath of his mouth. 2 Thessalonians 2-8. Thus, the Antichrist, paradoxically, points to the ultimate victory of Christ and the establishment of his eternal kingdom. He is the darkest hour before the dawn, emphasizing the triumph of light over utter darkness. D. Controversies and theories, a shifting identity. The identity of the Antichrist has been a subject of intense debate and speculation throughout Christian history. Is the Antichrist a literal individual who will appear in the future? Or is the term a symbolic representation of an ongoing spirit of opposition to Christ present in every age? Some interpretations see the Antichrist as a specific political leader, a succession of popes, or even a global system of control. The Roman emperors, Napoleon, Hitler, and many other historical figures have, at various times, been identified as the Antichrist. Premillennialists typically interpret the Antichrist as a future literal person who will rise to power before Christ's second coming, establishing a global government and demanding worship. Amillennialists and postmillennialists, on the other hand, often view the Antichrist as a symbolic representation of any force or individual that opposes Christ throughout history, rather than a single future figure. They emphasize the many Antichrists mentioned by John. Furthermore, debates persist regarding the timing of his appearance relative to the rapture, the tribulation, and the millennium. Will believers be present during his reign, or will they be removed? These varying interpretations not only reflect different theological frameworks, but also highlight the profound mystery and symbolic richness of these prophetic texts, inviting continuous study and discernment rather than definitive, dogmatic pronouncements. Part 3. The Coda, an eternal echo. Our journey through the prophecies concerning the Antichrist reveals not just a figure of impending doom, but a profound theological mirror reflecting humanity's perpetual struggle between allegiance to God and the allure of worldly power. He is the ultimate deceiver, yet his very presence is a stark reminder of the greater truth. Christ's ultimate victory is assured. The Antichrist, whether a singular future individual or a persistent spiritual force, challenges us to sharpen our discernment, to cling to the unvarnished truth of the gospel, and to recognize the subtle ways the spirit of Antichrist can manifest in our own lives and in the world around us. What then does this ancient warning demand of us today as we stand on the precipice of an unknown future? How do we prepare our hearts and minds for the subtle deceptions and overt challenges that prophecy foretells, ensuring our fidelity remains steadfast to the one true Christ?